This is Brews with the homies here. We got 3 incredible beers that we're going to introduce you guys to. We're going to talk about them, we're going to rate them, and then we'll see where the conversation goes from there. Sometimes we get a little sidetracked here. So, who wants to go first with introducing the amazing beer?
Well, we got Bottle Logic, Mexican lager. It's called Explorando.
Ooh.
Exploring.
Okay. Second beer is going to be Khloris from Mortalis with a collaboration with Fiddens, and it's going to be 8%, double IPA.
And then I got the third and final can. It's a Pure Project and Mortalis collab. It's called Hydra Squared. It's a smoothie style ale with dragon fruit, raspberry, and mangoes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for all 3 of these.
Dude,
These are like I would say our top breweries up here, right? Like that we all like can agree on that we all like, right?
Yeah.
They're all great.
They're all great. Like they're more than good. They're great.
Like,
Yeah, I would
so
agree.
good.
So good.
Alright, so first off, we'll throw it back to Heron. We're going to go straight into the Mexican lager from Bottle Logic. 5% ABV, 30 IBU, flaked corn, rice for a super clean sipper. Cheers, boys.
Sorry, I pulled a
I
Dustin.
didn't see that. I didn't see that.
He always does.
Sorry, but this was just, it smelled so good, and then the taste just made it even better.
Oh, yeah. Heron, we'll give you first dibs on this one.
All right. So, what was the corn Mexican lager that we had? Was that Solaris?
Yes.
Yes.
Solaris
the
had
one
that
we
corn.
really loved.
Yeah. So also, who else was it? Tripping Animals
Tripping
had
Animals.
a corn
Yeah.
one. Okay, so both of those
Mexican
very
style.
very forward in the corn area. Here, it's like it's pretty transparent. Like these guys were trying to make a beer that was like tasted like a beer, but like super low, like bringing it way down, which is awesome. Like if you like the taste of beer but don't want it in your face, like this thing, you could probably crush like 10 of these. And then we'd probably call you an Uber. But, yeah.
I love how he says probably.
Probably.
We
Shoot.
definitely doing that.
Can I tell you, this tastes like it has lime in it, and it's like I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, that Mexican style lager making you crave the lime, making you.
Well, it tastes like it has lime in there. It tastes like it's like a lager
It's
that
kinda
has
like that
lime.
first initial taste. I get that.
I don't know
Like-
about you. I'm getting it all the time.
Yeah, like I get it like towards the end, like where there's like a bitter, like you know when limes are separated in those little like juice pockets
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, like
that.
Yeah, I'm getting like one of those, but like it also is a little bitter and good.
Yeah, because going back to what you said, it being like clean, transparent. I think that's kind of the goal with the rice style that they put. I think it was corn and rice to give it such a just light crispiness to it. A lot of people said it's like almost biscuity, crisp, clean, and light.
Well, since you got Untapped open, what is the average rating on Untapped?
So only 46 people have checked this one in. 3.83.
Man, they're fucking smoking crack.
I know, it's always the light beers that people rate lower for some reason. I don't know, I don't get why people do that. It's just probably they're so used to the doubles, the triples, and they rate those as the highly sought after bigger beers. But this is so fresh, clean, crisp. It has such a light, delicate taste to it. Like Heron was saying, that's approachable, right? If you like beer, kind of getting into beer, this is a good one for someone. And then that lime bitterness that you guys are picking up more than I am is like a cool way to be like, hey, this is that regular kind of approachable beer style, but then it has like a hint of lime to it. And people will be like, oh, that's tight. Because a lot of people with the lighter beers, Modelo, Coronas, especially Corona with lime, right? So that's where this really shines, and I think kind of hits the mark across the board. For me, I kind of would rate this like a 4.
Man, you're crazy. I think it's higher.
I think it's way higher.
I think this is a 5.
Yes, sir.
I think Heron, I've
there.
been meaning to tell you this the last like month and a half. You've been on this lager kick ever since we came back from the bachelor party, and ever since then, the last like month and a half, I've been just craving nothing but lagers. And let me tell you, out of all the lagers I've had in the last month and a half, 2 months, this one
is the
takes
one
the
thing?
cake. This one takes the cake. I wish I could go get a keg of this, tell your mom to boot whatever the fuck she has in her fridge right now and put it
This
in
is
there.
the cake.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you love it because something like this is that realm of approachability, easy drinking, and even though I rated it at 4.4, it's nothing against it. I still think it's an incredible beer. It's just I've had some incredible Mexican lagers that I would put past this that I really enjoy. I want more of complex flavors and just jam-packed Mexican lager that's just in your face. This one's a little light for me. It's a little clean.
This is making me want tacos now.
Hey, I don't blame you, man. This
I'm
would
sorry.
go great with some carne asada tacos. Throw some lime on there.
Tacos El Gordo.
Hey. So, we got the ratings down for this. This is an incredible one. Bottle Logic always coming through with great beers. Now I want to shift the focus, guys.
Hold on.
He's like, no.
I need to tell them why it's a 5. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
quite understand why it's a 5. Dustin was enthusiastic about it, but he just said 5. The reason this is a 5 is because every single brewery, craft brewery, who creates a Mexican lager, they kind of want to throw their little spin to it, right? They're a craft brewery. They want you to know that they're a craft brewery. With this one, you know they're a craft brewery because of how just clean this is. They don't need to be super forward on the malts. They don't need to be super forward in the corn. Like, they knew exactly what they wanted to do with this thing, and they hit it out of the park. That's why it's a 5. Doesn't mean it's the best Mexican lager for everyone. It just means that what they were trying to do is exactly what they did, and that's why it's a 5.
Damn. Well said.
All right, so let's
Round of applause.
shift gears now.
Hats off.
Let's go.
That was encore. Encore.
You better have a good description for these next ones, too. Jumping into the second one, I'm always a huge fan of Mortalis. I have one of them up there that we've done in the past. I moved a couple down, but love their barrel-aged stuff. Been loving their doubles. Shout out to Beer Zombies, Khloris. I've seen them have it. They just got it in. They did Mortalis did a collaboration with North Park, and that one was absolutely incredible. I hope we can do it on the podcast soon. So this
Wait. Is it in stores here in town?
Yes, I already got it from Khloris the first time. Beer Zombies posted they have it, so make sure to check them out for it because it's on my Untapped. You'll see it around. Definitely want to check out. But this one I had to get through Tavor. It was a little bit more limited with the Fidens Fittens collab. This one, right off the nose, should be super aromatic, super juicy. Cheers.
I almost done did it. I
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Everyone looking at the
I
Saw
didn't
you
do
do
it
it.
that time. I came close.
Yeah, but this one, just to give everyone the kind of recap, Khloris, double IPA, 8%er, hazy hop saturated body, brings berry vibes from hand-selected mosaic and subtle undertones of grape and a small addition of Motuera hops.
Wow,
So-
what a like style change to go for something that's super light to a hazy, and I feel like it brought out more of the flavor of this. I'm like, whoo.
There's a lot going on in this. And
Yes,
I
there
really
is.
like how complex and my tongue from every angle is like tingling. There's so much going on right now. This is where I like to describe beer. I like to get into it, but then I call on my little expert here, Heron.
Whoa, hey.
I want you to jump into this.
Hey, hold on. You gotta retract the little part. That's
All right, short cat. No.
Whoa.
Wait, little is a term of endearment. You can
Yeah,
have like
okay.
a 6'8" friend and be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you
I
little buddy," and then you know, like,
Okay.
Heron knows what I mean, okay? Dustin was taking it the wrong way. But, alright, Heron, I'll let you lead this one off because this is something I really enjoy and I like to piggyback off of what you say, so lead the way on this one. There's a lot going on, so I think it'll take all three of us to kind of hit every note.
Yeah, I think really what I like to focus on is like the bitterness. So this is kind of like a grapefruit bitterness, but not like a red or grapefruit. Like it's kind of like those grapefruits that are yellow, right?
Yes.
It's more of that kind of grapefruit
Citrusy,
feel.
like yellowish.
Yeah, like a
grapefruit.
citrusy bitterness is what you really get out of this thing. And that's awesome. Like, of course, the color is going to influence what you think this tastes like.
Yeah.
So it already looks like one of those like lemon-looking grapefruits. So, I mean, it follows that. So let's see what else you guys have to say.
I'll kind of go into my little remarks on this. So off the nose, I get that citrusy smell For some reason, when I taste this and kind of mix with the smell of it, I almost get that kind of berryness to it. But it's weird because I want to say it's almost like a sweet berry, but at the same time, kind of weird description of it, but I think it fits like a blackberry, right? It has a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of bitterness, and it's a very in the middle of the road berry. And some people really hate it, some people really like it. I think it kind of describes it perfectly. It's a middle of the road. The sweetness kind of creeps up into there. The bitterness is definitely there, and that's where I get the berry section of it. But then going to what Heron said, that yellowish citrusy grapefruit is the main presence. And then I get a little bit of a hop action in there towards the end, kind of bringing up the end where it's a more of a hoppy, maybe grassy bitterness to kind of round it out. I think that's where I get all these flavors and the combination of the smell, the taste, everything, all the senses coming together create a very solid double IPA that I enjoy. I think it has definitely more Mortalis influence. I don't think it has as much Fiden's connection, because I know theirs are a little bit more less on the bitter end, but I like that Mortalis and that collab, their take on probably their recipe and kind of made it their own. So I like that.
Wow, you guys like pretty much hit everything, and like I'm sitting here because I had this same thought of like what I was gonna say, and none of you guys really said it, so it makes me curious to see if you guys actually like get this. This is like almost like a creamy, smooth, like kind of drinkable beer. Like I was sitting here drinking, and I'm like, man, this is like kind of creamy, and then you get the double IPA taste into it, and then you get that like berry like taste there at the very end.
Yeah.
But like I'm just like I'm almost done with mine.
We're
like
going through them pretty fast.
Yeah, and to me, for a double IPA, you don't normally get this like that creamy, that smooth. It's like a little bit more like aggressive, you know?
Yeah, it's like triples are usually more in that creaminess. And
yeah, and like if you told me this was a double IPA, I'd be like, you're kind of lying. I think this is like a triple. But to me,
yeah, it's a great one overall.
Yeah.
I like how Dustin picks up on that, because when you get into that realm, I think me and Heron were diving deep and really getting into the nitty grittiness of this beer, but then Dustin brings us back to the basic. Like, you don't want to miss out on what makes it enjoyable. I think that's why we keep coming back to it to drink it, right? We appreciate that, and we're looking really deep, but sometimes you just gotta enjoy the full spectrum of things. And then you brought us back to, this is why we would recommend it to you guys. This is why we would be like, hey, you gotta try this beer, because it's so well rounded. And that's why, hey, kind of said that it'd take all three of us to really wrap up this beer, and we hit it right there. Dustin brought that last element to kind of tie the little bow on this one to wrap it up. That creamy texture, that little sweetness, that a hazy double, almost mimicking a triple without like the booziness of it.
Yeah.
We're getting more of a bitterness and getting that citrusy grapefruit, a little bit of hoppy. All comes together for a beautiful beer. So, hey, great job on this one, Mortalis. We really love it. And rating-wise, I'll start it off this time, and we'll go down the line.
what was the average rating on Untappd?
I got you. So this one has 286 ratings, 4.36. So pretty big bump up from some of the other stuff. That's usually around the range of really good breweries. Have a lot of their beers from that 4.3 to 4.5. I would rate it personally, with everything going on, probably a 4.8, because I think it does so much so well, and we all captured the beauty of it, everything. So 4.8 for me across.
Yeah, I think it's 4.7 to 4.8, somewhere in that range, just because that mouthfeel that Dustin just described, incredible. It's like pillowy mouthfeel. Like, it just floats over the tongue, coats the tongue. Even when you like go ahead and swallow this beer, it's still like there's still a little bit of coating there.
Yeah.
It's great. It's not, I mean, I guess you did touch on that sweetness. Like, I didn't think there was sweetness, because the bitterness kind of like, is higher than the sweetness. So those are kind of like, they're always fighting.
Yeah, right. They're like masking each other a little bit.
Yeah, so there is sweetness in here, but it's not sweetness like a triple sweetness. It's not even like, you wouldn't even think this is sweet. If you wanted like a sweet, crushable, not even crushable, just a sweet IPA, this is not it.
No.
It's you're gonna get way more bitterness out of this, and if you don't like bitterness, this isn't for you. But if you do, this is probably one of the most complex bitternesses you're gonna taste in an IPA, or really any beer for that matter.
And as Dustin was saying, that creaminess, pillowy texture, all that stuff that you guys just talked about, the more you drink it, the more it takes over those senses, so the easier it is to drink, right? From coming, I think Dustin said it perfectly, the drastic change in style that we went from, I think kind of exposed our taste buds to that stronger style, more bitterness right up front. So we got all those notes first, then translate. But Dustin's over here dying.
Can I just say, like, you guys made it super complex, and I said two simple things, and like you guys like you guys just like hit like giving me credit that I'm like, all right, cool. But I think this is a first. I think this is, in my opinion, a 5. I just appreciate how well-rounded this beer is. I appreciate how crushable it is. I enjoy this 100%. Yeah. I think this is the first time ever I've rated something on the same back-to-back 5.
I was thinking that. I was like, I
think this is a first.
Yeah. He's in a good mood.
I'm in a great mood.
Yeah.
If you need to ask him anything, go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, might as well.
If you see this episode, it might be a little too late, but still shoot your shot.
I don't know. This is great.
Yeah.
Back-to-back 5s.
Yeah.
I'm like.
How do you follow that up?
Yeah, how do you follow that up? I mean, you hit it up with the Pure Project Immortalis. Like I said, this episode, like so far, these are all of our like. Undoubtedly in our top 5, top 7 breweries, all of ours. So, like, yeah, we're a little biased when it comes down to these, but to me, this is the stuff that I drink, and this is the stuff that I would gravitate towards. So, for me to hit back-to-back 5s is just, like, crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think jumping into the next one, that Hydra Squared, so we had the first iteration of it. Maybe, I think this might be the 3rd. I'm not mistaken, because I think they've done 2 other ones. Because I think they did.
This is the second one.
Well, I think they did an original version, and then they
Mortalis?
Yeah, and then they redid the first last year, and then this is the second of the redo. If I'm not mistaken, because I swore they did another one.
I'm pretty sure that's why it's called Hydra Squared.
Yeah, so it's probably the second of that iteration, because the first time we had it, I had it rated, I'll say the rating after and what I said about it, but it was a different kind of style of can. The first time it changed, I think, one thing, but we'll jump into it. So,
all right.
Like I said earlier, this is an 8%, and it's a smoothie style with dragon fruit, raspberry, and mango.
Yep.
Mango.
That cheers from you.
Sorry.
Oh.
We want a drink.
Again, a change in style.
Yeah, very different. So the last Hydra Squared that we did have came out a year ago. Well, or maybe a little less than a year ago, because it came out during Pure Project's first anniversary over at their Vista location, and they're celebrating their second at the end of this month, end of July. So this one, I thought it was a little more tart.
Yes,
Not as smoothie forward. Not a whole lot of fruits floating around in this one.
Yeah, it's not as thick. So I think the other one, from the picture I seen, the first one, this one has more of like a dark kind of color to it, almost like an orange, like a dark orange. The other one was very light, like a mango-y color, like a light yellowish orange mango color. This one's a lot darker. So I think that's the difference. The first one I rated a 4.5, and I said that dragon fruit is the main flavor. I think this one being a little bit more tart is what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be, I think I'm getting a little bit more maybe like raspberry tartness to it instead of like a dragon fruit.
I feel like this is more like a V8 juice, like that kind of texture to like a V8 juice, where it's kind of like
Slightly fruited,
Yeah.
like slightly thicker.
I feel like this would benefit like sitting in the freezer for a little bit.
Maybe like make it slushy style.
Yeah, like you accidentally did.
Yeah,
with
the other.
beer.
Yeah, should I did
Yeah.
that to one of my beers?
Yeah, I feel like that would benefit this one. I will definitely say we're not getting 3 in a row of 5s. Like, I don't know, this kind of tastes like orange juice, like the orange juice that like you has a little bit of pulp to it, you know,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like, like
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got some bitterness. It's got some acidity to it.
yeah. To me, it's like,
Yeah, I was trying to look it up to get all the differences, but that picture I think shows kind of more of what I was saying, being that lighter color, being more on the mango side. I was getting more of like a sweetness, a lot more fruited I think the first time I had it, and I think I preferred it the first time. I think this is just a slightly bit more on the tart side, a little less fruited. I get what they're doing, I think, with that, instead of being like super thick fruited sour, because sometimes people get turned off by that or if it's too much, but I think this one just kind of misses the mark for me a little bit.
a little bit. You can be honest here.
It's just not as good as the first one. I think the first one I rated 4.5. I think this one is going to be a lot lower. I think
You
I
said
would.
a 4.5.
Was the first time.
Okay.
Because I really liked that one, but I think there was still a little bit wrong with that one for me. I think Mortalis has made so many banger fruited sours, and I know Pure Project has their style and they kind of influence when they do this collab. So I think that's where I rated it 4.5. It was a merging of the two worlds and it worked. This one I think has a little too much pure influence. I think some of their fruited sours are very hit or miss, and I'm more of their IPA stouts, their saisons and all that.
Oh, their saisons. Chef's
So
kiss.
good. But yeah, I think it just kind of got away from what Mortalis does so well, and I think I would rate it probably like a 3.8. I think that's where I'm gonna roll down to, because of the fact that I'm just getting so much bitterness. I'm not getting what I wanted from it, and it's just misses the mark a little bit.
Man, you're nicer than me.
Alright, let's get your rating.
I
then
give
we'll
this a
have
3.2.
Yeah, hey.
I'm sorry, but like it's like you said, Mortalis. We have this expectation because Mortalis has knocked that shit out of the park plenty
So
of
many
times.
times, yeah.
And Pure Project, you said they could be hit or miss with this, and like to me, I feel like I'm getting more of a Pure Project influence than a Mortalis one. So like I just think this is one of the ones that they missed on, and I would definitely not be reaching for this one. This one, in my opinion, is a 3.2.
Okay.
So I guess we get back into marketing.
Yeah.
If this was like a fruited IPA, sure, it kind of gives you like a little bit of like
that's a
IPA
different,
kind of vibe,
yeah,
you
okay,
know?
that's a
Like-
different way to look at it. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, because it has some bitterness. It's mostly
Yeah.
fruit bitterness, but it does have some hop bitterness, I think.
Yeah.
And last year's version, I think, was probably the best. I don't even
Yeah.
think I had the first year's version, but last year's version was awesome. They had dragon fruit seeds
Yeah.
at the bottom of every can.
Yeah.
It was incredible. That was like my favorite part. It was very tactile.
Yeah.
This, less sweet than last year,
Yeah.
which most people are going to be like, wow, smoothie, I need sweet. Which,
Yeah.
like, hand in hand, if you're going to promote a smoothie beer, it needs to be sweet.
Exactly.
That's just an expectation that's out there. So, yeah, I could see why the ratings are the way they are in this room.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ratings are
Very
out in the world.
Yeah, let me see.
So while he's looking
because
at
it doesn't have. That's the only thing, is they don't separate it from the two. So
Oh.
including last year's, it was 4.16 overall. That's where it gets into that. Like you can't separate the two. I wish they had it. Like boom.
They
boom.
usually do separate them into batches.
Yeah.
So
So I
I
wish
w-
they did that, but
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So if this is labeled as a smoothie style ale, and you just said that if this was listed as an IPA, you
Well,
can see it.
so-
I mean, it's not like an IPA. Like,
No.
if you said, like,
Okay.
it had, like, some bitterness of an IPA, then you'd be like, oh, sure. I mean, this is still full smoothie.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Right.
take this real quick from you is because I think you'll agree with this statement is if this was marketed as an 8-bit sour IPA, a little bit more on the smoothie side, I think you would have gotten a lot more lenience on the taste, the everything. Because when I compare this to that like 8-bit style I have in my mind for a sour IPA, then I'm like, okay, I kind of get that soury IPA taste. I'm getting kind of that little bitterness from the IPA, a little bit of the bitterness from the fruit, and it's not super thick to where I'm like reaching for some of that tactile response that you were talking about, some seed, some thickness. That might change the realm of like marketing and what you expect from the can. If they went down that route, the sour IPA with a slight influence of smoothie style, then I think this could pop up the rating, and then I'm a little bit more appreciative, be like, you know what? Yeah, I agree with those. So I think that's where you get into the realm of marketing, how you promote these cans, or when you do these changes, you got to make sure you don't go too drastic, because now I'm at a point to where I rated it lower and just based off of the taste, everything, whereas if it was categorized differently, maybe it would have been a different experience. We would have seen it in a different light, but that's just us being super critical going into how the whole beer process is. As you get into, we've had hundreds and hundreds of styles of different beers and just from all of our favorite breweries, and we expect greatness to a magnitude of just missed the mark. So
kind of want to put this in a margarita. Add a little bit more fruit to it. Add a little bit of something to it. I think it would be a lot better.
just as like a base layer.
Yeah,
of
just as a
something.
base layer. I don't know why.
Back
like,
during the COVID times. we
oh
started
yeah, when we just started fucking around making margaritas.
So that's what you need to do. Actually, instead of throwing it and blending it, you need to blend your margarita, then throw this on top.
Yes.
And then like kind of.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? My Snapchat memories are popping up, and it's all the days of us just fucking around with the margarita machine. And we got pretty creative. We took some popsicles. We took frozen
Baja
fruit,
Blast.
Baja Blast,
we did,
Gatorade,
450 North.
450 North. Yeah, we got a little wild during the pandemic. I think we need to bring that back.
Be a little bit crazy with it, but
I have the machine. We might as well.
hey, do a stout margarita. Whoa.
Whoa.
That'd be
How would that work?
Throw churros in
Hey,
it.
try.
Oh. All right, who's going to Disneyland to pick up some churros?
Let's all go to Disneyland.
Dude, you don't have to tempt me with a good time.
Dustin's all about a good time.
You
And
say Disneyland, you tell me the date, I'm there.
but
No ifs, ands, or buts.
he'll be there.
I'll
But
be there.
let's wrap it up, boys. So it's one of those episodes. Dustin, back-to-back fives. Last one didn't hit the mark. Heron and I really enjoyed the first two. Last one didn't hit the mark as well, but still, great episode, great beer. Love sharing it with you guys. Make sure to check out our bite episode. That'll be up too, referencing the churros. Heron,
Hey,
give you a little education on that one too.
say it right.
Hey, churro.
There you go.
All
There
right,
you
now
go.
you gotta do it. Now you gotta do it.
Churro.
Hey, roll on the Mars.
It sounded like you guys were saying like shit, but like chorro instead of churro.
There you go.
But you know,
Hey,
we'll end it here.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
we always like to end it with a laugh. So, cheers, guys. We'll catch you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.